The Israelites, bound in the chains of slavery, felt the weight of despair as they toiled under the unrelenting sun of Egypt. Their cries reached the heavens, a collective plea for liberation from Pharaoh's harsh rule. It was at this moment of deep anguish that God, hearing their prayers, prepared a leader. Exodus chapter 3 verse 7 recounts, "The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering." This sets the stage for a divine intervention that would alter the course of history. God chose Moses, a man raised in Pharaoh's household yet destined to become the face of rebellion against tyranny. Encountering God in the burning bush, Moses wrestled with self-doubt as God infused him with purpose. "Go," God commanded in Exodus chapter 3 verse 10, "I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people the Israelites out of Egypt." With reluctance yet acceptance, Moses became the vessel of God's promise, stepping into the role that would forever change the destiny of his people. As God prepared to demonstrate his power to the Egyptians, plagues fell upon the land, each more severe than the last, designed to reveal the futility of the Egyptian gods. However, the hardest plague, the death of the firstborn, Exodus chapter 12 verse 29, became the decisive moment for liberation. The Israelites were instructed to mark their doorposts with lamb's blood, a sign of faith and obedience that would protect them. This act of survival not only illustrated their faith but also foreshadowed the coming of an ultimate sacrifice, a deep narrative woven into the fabric of salvation. As dawn broke on the night of liberation, the Israelites prepared to leave with haste, clutching unleavened bread and their most cherished possessions. Exodus chapter 12 verses 31 to 32 depicts a tense farewell, as the fear of Pharaoh's wrath permeated their hearts. Yet, through their fear came boldness. The assurance of God's promises echoed in their spirits, urging them forward. As they exited, a new era dawned where oppression transformed to hopeful anticipation of a promised land. The journey unfolded under a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night, a physical manifestation of God's unyielding presence leading them. In Exodus chapter 13 verse 21, it states, "By day the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light." This divine guidance was a constant reminder of God's covenant, assuring the Israelites, marked by faith, that they were not alone but accompanied by the Almighty. As they approached the Red Sea, a panic arose among the Israelites upon realizing they were trapped between the raging waters and the advancing chariots of Pharaoh. The cries grew louder, echoing their deepest fears as they questioned Moses' leadership in Exodus chapter 14 verses 10 to 12. Yet, in this moment of despair, God's voice pierced through the chaos. "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today." This declaration ignited a flicker of faith in their hearts as they braced for the miracle that was about to unfold. With Moses' stretched forth hands, a mighty wind blew through the night, and to the amazement of the Israelites, the waters of the Red Sea parted, revealing a path of dry land. Exodus chapter 14 verses 21 to 22 captures this miraculous moment. "Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land." The Israelites, witnessing this unimaginable sight, were urged forward, an awe-filled faith propelling them into the miraculous, leaving behind the specter of bondage. Behind them, Pharaoh's army pursued relentlessly, swallowed by a false assurance of victory. As the last Israelite stepped onto solid ground, God commanded the waters, returning with a chaotic roar. Exodus chapter 14 verse 27 proclaims, "Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak, the sea went back to its place." In that moment, the once dominant forces of oppression were silenced forever in a divine act of retribution, sending waves of salvation crashing down upon those who had enslaved God's chosen. The Israelites emerged on the far shore, witnessing the devastation of their oppressors, a truth that stirred their hearts with a profound sense of gratitude and overwhelmed joy. In Exodus chapter 15 verses 1-2, Moses broke into song, leading the people in a triumphant hymn of praise. I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. Their voices unified in celebration, echoed affirmations of their faith in God's deep fidelity and salvation. Emerging from the waters of deliverance, Israel faced a wilderness. Yet this land embodied not just a physical terrain but a spiritual test. God entered into covenant with his people, offering the 10 Commandments as a guide to shape their identity. Exodus chapter 20 describes how the Lord, in his righteousness, revealed his commandments, unveiling a divine framework for a life of truth, justice, and love. It was a transformative call, beckoning them to uphold their end of the covenant in return for his unwavering faithfulness. Yet, like all journeys, trials emerged. Each challenge, from the hunger in the wilderness to their thirst, tested their faith and obedience. Their cries of doubt often overshadowed the memories of divine deliverance. In this struggle, God responded not with rebuke but with grace, providing manna and quenching their thirst from the rock, reminding them of his persistent love that nourished their spirit and met their needs, just as he had proven at the Red Sea. Through their journey, the Israelites grew into a community defined by faith, hope, and unwavering trust. The Song of Moses became a cornerstone of their identity as they passed on tales of liberation to generations, forever linking their past with their future. Exodus chapter 15 concludes with an acknowledgement of God's leading presence and the journey that lay ahead. A spiritual legacy about perseverance, redemption, and the promise of the land flowing with milk and honey. The story of the Exodus remains a profound testament to God's unwavering commitment to his people, bringing forth lessons of hope and liberation. For the Catholics and Christians today, it echoes in the sacramental understanding of salvation. The ritual of the Eucharist reflects the Passover, a continual reminder of the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. This establishes a direct connection to the deeper meaning of Jesus' death and resurrection, rooted in the tradition of liberation. In the daily trials we face, the themes of faith and trust outlined during the Exodus can serve as a guide. Turning to God in moments of doubt and oppression opens paths to personal redemptions. Just as the Israelites confronted fear as they faced the Red Sea, so too do we find ourselves at moments of choice, to trust in God's provision and guidance or succumb to despair. Our personal exodus reflects their journey, a movement from darkness to light, from bondage to freedom. God's promise to Israel is an eternal truth that resonates deeply within our lives today. We are called to be a people of faith, carrying forth the message of salvation, justice, and hope in a broken world. The Exodus story instills the courage to stand against tyranny, speak for those in oppression, and live under the covenant of grace. It teaches us about a loving God who fights for us and calls us forward into the fullness of life, solidifying the belief that he will continue to guide us as he did in ancient times.